At 50, Leonardo DiCaprio remains one of the most recognizable and influential actors in Hollywood, yet he continues to challenge conventional expectations surrounding personal life and relationships. Despite decades in the public eye, a striking aspect of his persona is his persistent choice to remain unmarried. Recently, DiCaprio openly acknowledged why he has no intention of tying the knot, providing insight into his personal philosophy that prioritizes authenticity, freedom, and meaningful engagement over societal norms. Throughout his career, DiCaprio has been known for his high-profile relationships, often with women considerably younger than himself. Yet, despite numerous partnerships, he has never taken the step toward legal marriage or parenthood. In interviews and public statements, he has consistently emphasized that formalizing a relationship through marriage is not a requirement for commitment or deep emotional connection. This perspective, which may seem unconventional to some, reflects a deliberate choice rather than a reaction to failed relationships or external pressures. At this stage in his life, DiCaprio emphasizes the importance of how he invests his time. Turning 50 has brought with it a heightened awareness of personal priorities. In conversations with media outlets, he has expressed that he seeks relationships that are genuine and mutually enriching rather than those that conform to social expectations. The decision not to marry, therefore, aligns with his broader desire to focus on life experiences that are meaningful and impactful, both personally and professionally. Furthermore, DiCaprio's stance challenges the traditional narrative of marriage as a milestone in adult life. For him, a successful partnership does not necessitate legal recognition. He values emotional depth, shared values, and authentic companionship over conventional markers of relational success. This approach highlights a more modern interpretation of intimacy, where legal and societal frameworks do not dictate the quality or legitimacy of a personal bond. Despite public fascination with his romantic life, DiCaprio maintains a deliberate level of privacy, sharing only what is necessary about his relationships. He is currently dating model Vittoria Soretti, and while their relationship attracts media attention, DiCaprio has shown no inclination toward marriage. His ability to sustain high-profile relationships without succumbing to the pressure to marry underscores his commitment to autonomy and personal choice. Ultimately, DiCaprio's perspective reflects a larger trend among certain individuals who prioritize personal fulfillment over social conformity. By choosing not to marry, he underscores the idea that a meaningful life and healthy relationships do not require adherence to traditional frameworks. At 50, DiCaprio exemplifies a deliberate approach to life where professional ambitions, personal freedom, and genuine emotional connections coexist without the constraints of conventional marital expectations. In conclusion, Leonardo DiCaprio's decision not to marry at 50 is not an act of rebellion but a conscious affirmation of his values. It highlights a philosophy centered on authenticity, intentionality, and freedom, offering an alternative vision of relationships that challenges societal norms while emphasizing personal fulfillment and genuine connection. Leonardo DiCaprio's decision not to marry at the age of 50 has inevitably sparked widespread discussion, debate, and speculation in both popular culture and media circles. As one of Hollywood's most celebrated actors, his personal life has always been subject to intense scrutiny, making his candid acknowledgement about avoiding marriage particularly significant. The public reaction reflects broader societal attitudes toward marriage, relationships, and gender expectations, highlighting the tension between individual choice and collective cultural norms. Historically, celebrities who choose not to marry have often faced a range of reactions, from admiration for their independence to criticism for defying societal expectations. In DiCaprio's case, the media coverage has been largely analytical rather than sensational, emphasizing the philosophical underpinnings of his choice rather than framing it as scandalous. Major entertainment outlets have highlighted that his avoidance of marriage is consistent with his long-standing focus on personal freedom, professional dedication, and prioritizing authentic human connections over formalized social constructs. This framing reinforces the notion that DiCaprio's choice is deliberate and reflective rather than impulsive or reactionary. Public fascination with DiCaprio's relationships is partly rooted in the cultural narrative of Hollywood romance. His history of high-profile relationships, often with younger models and actresses, has created a perception of him as a man who is both selective and transient in his romantic commitments. However, by openly discussing his reasons for eschewing marriage, DiCaprio challenges the reductive narrative that views him solely through the lens of celebrity dating patterns. Instead, he reframes the conversation, inviting audiences to consider marriage not as a mandatory milestone but as a personal choice shaped by values, priorities, and life philosophy. Culturally, DiCaprio's stance also raises questions about evolving perceptions of adulthood, partnership, and commitment. In many societies, marriage has traditionally been seen as a benchmark of stability, social legitimacy, and maturity. Yet, modern trends indicate that individuals increasingly seek alternative frameworks for defining relationships. DiCaprio embodies this shift by demonstrating that deep, meaningful, and committed connections can exist outside of legal or ceremonial frameworks. His choice resonates with a growing demographic that values autonomy, intentionality, and self-expression over conformity to traditional social expectations. Moreover, DiCaprio's decision underscores the interplay between personal ambition and relational choices. His career, which spans decades and includes some of the most critically acclaimed roles in cinematic history, requires extensive dedication, travel, and public engagement. Marriage, with its social and emotional obligations, may represent a structure that conflicts with such an intensely demanding lifestyle. By prioritizing relationships that complement rather than constrain his personal and professional life, DiCaprio illustrates a deliberate balancing of career aspirations with authentic human connection, challenging conventional notions of relational sacrifice and compromise. Media narratives surrounding DiCaprio's decision also reveal society's fascination with celebrity lifestyle as a lens through which to explore broader questions of identity and personal values. Discussions about why he has chosen not to marry at 50 often extend beyond gossip, touching on philosophical inquiries about freedom, happiness, and the societal pressures imposed on individuals, particularly men, to conform to certain relational milestones. In this context, DiCaprio's openness serves as a culturally significant example of how high-profile individuals can influence public discourse on relationships and autonomy. Finally, the public reaction to DiCaprio's personal philosophy offers a lens into generational attitudes toward commitment. While older generations may view marriage as an essential institution, younger audiences increasingly interpret relationships through the values of choice, equity, and flexibility. DiCaprio's stance aligns with this perspective, reinforcing the legitimacy of diverse relational models and promoting acceptance of non-traditional approaches to intimacy. By maintaining a high-profile presence while consciously avoiding marriage, he exemplifies a modern approach to partnership, one that values alignment of personal values, emotional depth, and mutual respect over formal titles or ceremonies. In conclusion, Leonardo DiCaprio's choice to remain unmarried at 50 is significant not only for his personal narrative but also for its broader cultural implications. It challenges entrenched assumptions about marriage, public expectation, and social conformity. By prioritizing authenticity, meaningful connection, and personal freedom, DiCaprio provides a model of relational intentionality that resonates with contemporary audiences and reflects evolving societal values. His candid acknowledgement about why he will never marry invites both admiration and critical reflection, illustrating that the choices of one individual, particularly a figure of public prominence, can catalyze discussion on universal themes of love, commitment, and personal fulfillment. Leonardo DiCaprio's decision to avoid marriage at the age of 50 also invites reflection from psychological and philosophical perspectives. Beyond media speculation and public curiosity, his choice can be understood as a deliberate manifestation of his values, personal priorities, and cognitive approach to life. By examining his attitude through these lenses, one gains a deeper appreciation of how DiCaprio navigates both fame and personal fulfillment while challenging traditional social expectations. From a psychological standpoint, DiCaprio's approach reflects an acute awareness of his own needs and limitations. Research in adult development and personality psychology highlights that self-knowledge and intentional decision-making are critical for life satisfaction. DiCaprio exemplifies this principle by consciously choosing a lifestyle that aligns with his goals rather than succumbing to societal pressures to conform to marital norms. He appears to prioritize emotional quality and relational depth over external validation, demonstrating what psychologists refer to as self-determined motivation, where actions are guided by intrinsic values rather than extrinsic expectations. Furthermore, DiCaprio's philosophy underscores the importance of autonomy and agency in adult life. By openly stating that marriage is not a personal priority, he asserts control over his life trajectory, signaling that societal definitions of success do not dictate his sense of fulfillment. This autonomy is particularly noteworthy in the context of celebrity culture, where public figures often experience intense pressure to meet conventional milestones. DiCaprio's stance challenges the assumption that personal achievement or relational legitimacy requires formal recognition through legal or social institutions. Philosophically, DiCaprio's perspective aligns with existentialist notions of freedom, authenticity, and self-definition. Existentialist thought emphasizes that individuals must create meaning in their lives through conscious choice rather than passively accepting societal prescriptions. In rejecting marriage as a necessity, DiCaprio affirms the primacy of authentic engagement with life and relationships. His focus is not on adhering to prescribed roles but on cultivating experiences and connections that are meaningful, personally resonant, and sustainable. In this sense, DiCaprio embodies a form of modern existentialist practice, where life decisions are guided by deliberate reflection and value-driven priorities. The broader social implications of DiCaprio's choice are also significant. In a culture where marriage has historically been a marker of social status, stability, and maturity, a public figure openly rejecting this norm prompts reconsideration of long-held assumptions. It encourages dialogue about the diversity of adult lifestyles and the legitimacy of alternative models of partnership. His approach resonates with contemporary social trends, particularly among younger generations, which increasingly value flexibility, mutual respect, and shared purpose over legal or ceremonial endorsement. DiCaprio's example can therefore be seen as contributing to a cultural shift toward recognizing non-traditional relational structures as valid and meaningful. Additionally, DiCaprio's decision highlights the intersection of career and personal life, illustrating the ways in which professional ambitions influence relational choices. His career, marked by international travel, demanding filming schedules, and public scrutiny, requires a lifestyle that accommodates flexibility and freedom. Avoiding marriage allows him to sustain relationships that complement rather than constrain his professional life. This demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of life balance, where relational satisfaction and career fulfillment coexist without the pressures of conventional societal expectations. Finally, DiCaprio's approach encourages a more nuanced conversation about gender, power, and social norms. Traditional expectations often position men's relational choices as less scrutinized, yet DiCaprio's high-profile stance opens a dialogue about how men and women alike navigate societal pressures regarding marriage. By framing his decision as intentional and value-driven rather than reactive, he challenges stereotypical narratives of male detachment or commitment aversion, presenting a more considered model of personal agency and emotional intelligence. In conclusion, Leonardo DiCaprio's decision not to marry at 50 is a complex and deliberate choice that reflects his psychological self-awareness, existential philosophy, and social consciousness. It underscores the value of autonomy, authenticity, and reflective life planning, offering insight into how high-profile individuals negotiate personal fulfillment amid public scrutiny. Beyond celebrity intrigue, his stance encourages society to reconsider traditional assumptions about marriage, relationships, and adult milestones, highlighting the legitimacy of diverse, intentional, and meaningful approaches to human connection. In this light, DiCaprio's perspective is not merely a personal idiosyncrasy but a culturally significant example of living deliberately, prioritizing genuine relationships, and redefining what it means to lead a fulfilled life. Leonardo DiCaprio's candid acknowledgement about his decision not to marry at 50 resonates far beyond the entertainment industry. His personal choices, amplified by global media, contribute to ongoing conversations about cultural expectations, media representation, and the ways in which public figures shape societal perceptions of relationships and adulthood. Part 4 examines the broader cultural impact of DiCaprio's stance, the role of media narratives in framing public understanding, and the lessons that society can derive from his approach to personal fulfillment. In a cultural context, DiCaprio represents a figure who defies traditional milestones while maintaining both professional success and social influence. His decision not to marry challenges the long-standing assumption that adult life requires legally sanctioned partnerships as a measure of personal or social achievement. By choosing autonomy and intentionality, he models an alternative vision of adult life where personal satisfaction, meaningful connections, and professional dedication coexist without reliance on institutional validation. This perspective resonates particularly with contemporary audiences, who increasingly seek flexibility and authenticity in personal and relational choices. DiCaprio's example underscores the legitimacy of diverse paths to fulfillment, encouraging a reassessment of the rigid societal scripts that have historically defined adult milestones. The media plays a critical role in shaping public perception of DiCaprio's choices. Coverage often emphasizes both the curiosity and admiration surrounding his lifestyle, portraying him as an icon of independence while contextualizing his decisions within a larger narrative of personal agency. While tabloids may sensationalize aspects of his dating history, more reputable outlets highlight the philosophical reasoning and life experience behind his refusal to marry. This duality illustrates the media's power to influence societal discourse. It can either reduce a complex personal philosophy to gossip or elevate it to a discussion about autonomy, self-determination, and modern relationships. DiCaprio's ability to maintain control over his public image while navigating media attention demonstrates an adept balance between transparency and privacy, a skill that is increasingly relevant for public figures in the digital age. Furthermore, DiCaprio's stance offers a platform for examining generational attitudes toward commitment. Whereas earlier generations may have viewed marriage as an essential institution for stability and social validation, younger audiences often prioritize personal growth, emotional compatibility, and experiential learning. DiCaprio's decision aligns with these shifting values, reinforcing the idea that fulfilling relationships are defined not by ceremonies or societal expectations but by mutual respect, shared purpose, and authentic engagement. His approach encourages audiences to reconsider the traditional markers of relational success and to embrace diverse models of partnership. From a societal perspective, DiCaprio's choices also illuminate broader questions about masculinity and relational norms. Traditionally, male celebrity relationships have been scrutinized through a lens of conquest or commitment avoidance, often oversimplifying complex personal decisions. By articulating the reasoning behind his choice to remain unmarried, DiCaprio reframes the narrative, presenting an image of deliberate, self-aware masculinity that values reflection, intentionality, and genuine connection. This reframing challenges stereotypes and offers a more nuanced understanding of male agency in personal and romantic decision-making. Moreover, the cultural influence of high-profile figures like DiCaprio extends to discussions of lifestyle balance and the pursuit of meaningful life experiences. His decision not to marry illustrates the broader principle that personal fulfillment can be achieved through intentional living, prioritization of values, and conscious choice-making. By modeling a life guided by intrinsic motivations rather than external pressures, DiCaprio implicitly encourages audiences to reflect on their own priorities, ambitions, and relational frameworks. This cultural lesson is particularly relevant in an era where social media amplifies expectations, comparisons, and pressures to conform to idealized life paths. Finally, the public conversation surrounding DiCaprio's choice highlights the intersection of celebrity influence, personal agency, and societal evolution. His openness sparks dialogue about autonomy, relationship diversity, and the legitimacy of non-traditional life decisions. It also challenges individuals and communities to reassess rigid assumptions about success, commitment, and fulfillment, promoting a culture of respect for personal choice and authentic living. In this sense, DiCaprio's personal philosophy transcends celebrity gossip, offering meaningful insights into modern adulthood, relational ethics, and the evolving understanding of human connection. In conclusion, Leonardo DiCaprio's decision to remain unmarried at 50 has cultural, media, and societal significance that extends beyond his personal narrative. By modeling autonomy, intentionality, and authenticity, he challenges traditional assumptions about marriage, influences public discourse, and offers lessons for navigating modern life with integrity and self-awareness. His stance encourages reflection on the values that truly matter, illustrating that meaningful relationships and personal fulfillment are defined not by societal expectations but by deliberate, conscious choices rooted in authenticity, mutual respect, and personal growth. Leonardo DiCaprio's decision to remain unmarried at 50 serves as more than a personal revelation. It provides a lens through which society can examine notions of freedom, fulfillment, and the evolving definitions of relationships. While the media often fixates on the celebrity aspect of his life, the deeper significance lies in the philosophical and cultural implications of his choice. Part 5 consolidates the insights from his perspective, reflects on the lessons society can derive, and explores the long-term implications of his approach to personal and relational life. First and foremost, DiCaprio's stance highlights the importance of self-awareness and deliberate choice. Unlike impulsive decisions or reactive avoidance of commitment, his reasoning reflects thoughtful reflection on what constitutes a meaningful life. He prioritizes authentic relationships, emotional depth, and alignment with personal values over external validation or adherence to traditional milestones. This emphasis on intentionality resonates as a powerful lesson for the public. Fulfillment is not achieved by following societal scripts, but by making conscious, value-driven decisions that harmonize with one's unique goals and aspirations. Moreover, DiCaprio exemplifies a redefinition of relationship norms in modern society. Historically, marriage has been regarded as the ultimate measure of relational success, with unmarried individuals often subjected to scrutiny or judgment. By openly sharing his perspective, DiCaprio challenges this conventional view, presenting an alternative model where commitment, loyalty, and emotional connection exist independently of legal or ceremonial recognition. This approach encourages individuals to reassess their own expectations for relationships and embrace diverse frameworks that reflect their personal values and life circumstances. From a cultural standpoint, his choice also underscores the intersection of career, personal development, and relational priorities. DiCaprio's demanding professional life, characterized by international travel, intense filming schedules, and public attention, requires flexibility and autonomy. His decision not to marry allows him to cultivate relationships that complement rather than constrain his ambitions. In doing so, he demonstrates a nuanced understanding of work-life balance, illustrating that relational fulfillment can coexist with professional dedication, provided that boundaries, priorities, and values are consciously defined and respected. Another crucial lesson derives from his influence on societal perceptions of masculinity, autonomy, and emotional intelligence. DiCaprio's openness about his reasoning challenges stereotypical narratives about male detachment or commitment avoidance. Instead, he presents a model of deliberate, self-aware masculinity, where personal agency, reflection, and authentic emotional engagement take precedence over socially imposed milestones. This reframing contributes to a broader conversation about gender norms, emphasizing that personal fulfillment and relational depth are not contingent on conforming to traditional expectations of adulthood or partnership. Furthermore, DiCaprio's decision carries implications for generational attitudes toward marriage and commitment. Younger generations increasingly value flexibility, autonomy, and experiential growth over rigid adherence to societal scripts. By embodying a life that prioritizes authenticity and self-determination, DiCaprio provides a cultural reference point that validates alternative approaches to relationships. His example may inspire individuals to pursue intentional lives that prioritize personal growth, meaningful connections, and deliberate engagement with both professional and social responsibilities. Finally, the long-term significance of DiCaprio's choice extends to public discourse surrounding personal freedom, societal expectations, and the evolving understanding of relationships. His decision challenges the notion that fulfillment is contingent on following prescribed paths, offering instead a vision of life defined by self-awareness, intentionality, and authenticity. In doing so, he encourages both public figures and ordinary individuals to critically evaluate the assumptions that shape their life choices, ultimately promoting a culture of respect for diverse relational models, conscious decision-making, and genuine human connection. In conclusion, Leonardo DiCaprio's choice not to marry at 50 is a reflection of deliberate life philosophy, deep self-awareness, and cultural influence. It underscores the importance of personal authenticity, intentionality, and value-driven decision-making in shaping meaningful relationships and a fulfilling life. Beyond celebrity intrigue, his perspective challenges societal norms, inspires reflection on alternative models of commitment, and exemplifies the evolving understanding of adult life in contemporary culture. DiCaprio's stance ultimately serves as a testament to the power of conscious living, a reminder that true fulfillment arises not from external validation or conventional milestones, but from intentional choices aligned with one's values, aspirations, and authentic self. Leonardo DiCaprio's decision to remain unmarried at 50 resonates not only within Hollywood or Western culture but also prompts reflection on global perspectives regarding relationships, marriage, and societal expectations. Across diverse cultures, marriage has traditionally been viewed as a central milestone, often entwined with social, religious, and economic norms. DiCaprio's candid acknowledgement, amplified by international media, challenges these long-held assumptions, encouraging a re-evaluation of what constitutes personal fulfillment and meaningful partnerships worldwide. In many societies, marriage functions as both a legal and social institution, representing stability, continuity, and social legitimacy. However, as globalization, urbanization, and changing cultural norms reshape human experiences, alternative models of relationship and personal choice are increasingly visible. DiCaprio's refusal to marry exemplifies this trend, highlighting the legitimacy of voluntary non-marriage as a conscious, value-driven choice rather than a deviation or personal limitation. His approach encourages individuals globally to consider intentionality, emotional depth, and compatibility as primary metrics for relationship success rather than societal pressure or cultural obligation. Furthermore, DiCaprio's decision resonates with broader discussions on individual autonomy and life satisfaction. Cross-cultural research in psychology and sociology emphasizes that self-determined choices, those aligned with personal values and intrinsic motivations, significantly enhance well-being and life fulfillment. By prioritizing relationships and life experiences that reflect his own values rather than adhering to external expectations, DiCaprio models a universal lesson: meaningful living is a product of deliberate choices, self-awareness, and alignment between personal philosophy and everyday practice. This message transcends borders, offering inspiration to audiences in regions where societal pressure to marry remains intense. The global media's role in shaping perception is also crucial. DiCaprio's choices are covered widely, from Hollywood entertainment outlets to international news platforms, illustrating how public figures can influence social norms across cultural boundaries. In countries where celebrity culture carries substantial social weight, his openness contributes to ongoing discourse about the validity of alternative life paths. Media narratives that focus on thoughtful reasoning, personal growth, and autonomy, rather than mere sensationalism, reinforce the potential for cross-cultural dialogue about freedom, relational diversity, and personal responsibility. Additionally, DiCaprio's decision invites reflection on the intersection of generational shifts and cultural evolution. Younger generations around the world increasingly emphasize self-expression, autonomy, and flexibility in relationships. The rise of cohabitation, non-traditional partnerships, and delayed marriage reflects a global movement toward valuing quality, authenticity, and intentionality in relational life. DiCaprio's lifestyle aligns with these trends, demonstrating that meaningful relationships can exist outside institutional frameworks and that personal fulfillment often stems from conscious choice rather than societal conformity. Another significant aspect is the human lesson embedded in DiCaprio's decision: the importance of aligning life with one's ethical, emotional, and aspirational values. His refusal to marry is not an act of defiance but a reflection of personal integrity, prioritizing authentic connection over symbolic or procedural markers. This principle holds universal relevance, offering guidance for individuals seeking to navigate complex life choices with honesty and self-respect. By emphasizing emotional sincerity, deliberate action, and ethical coherence, DiCaprio models a form of human-centered decision-making that transcends celebrity and resonates with anyone striving for meaningful existence. Finally, DiCaprio's approach encourages societies to reconsider the social constructs surrounding adulthood and relational milestones. By openly demonstrating that a successful, fulfilling life does not require adherence to conventional scripts, he promotes a culture of inclusivity and acceptance for diverse life paths. His stance reinforces the idea that relational legitimacy, personal achievement, and social contribution are defined by values, authenticity, and intentional living rather than by adherence to institutional norms. This perspective carries long-term implications for global cultural dialogue, encouraging greater tolerance, reflection, and critical evaluation of traditional social expectations. In conclusion, Leonardo DiCaprio's decision to remain unmarried at 50 extends far beyond his personal life, offering insights into global cultural dynamics, generational shifts, and the human pursuit of authenticity. By modeling intentional living, prioritizing emotional depth, and challenging conventional assumptions, he encourages audiences worldwide to reconsider societal pressures, embrace alternative relational models, and pursue personal fulfillment through conscious, value-driven choices. His perspective serves as a reminder that meaningful connection, autonomy, and integrity form the foundation of a rich, authentic life, lessons that resonate universally across cultures, generations, and social contexts. As Leonardo DiCaprio reaches the milestone of 50, his candid acknowledgement of why he will never marry offers more than insight into a celebrity's personal choices. It reflects a thoughtful life philosophy with enduring implications. Over the course of decades, DiCaprio has cultivated a public persona that balances extraordinary professional achievement with deliberate personal agency. His decision not to marry is consistent with this ethos, emphasizing autonomy, intentionality, and authenticity as guiding principles for both private life and public conduct. One of the most significant aspects of DiCaprio's stance is its potential to reshape societal expectations. In an era where cultural narratives often equate success and relational legitimacy with marriage, his perspective challenges long-standing assumptions. By openly embracing a non-traditional approach to relationships, he provides a visible model of living deliberately and prioritizing personal fulfillment over externally imposed norms. This influence is particularly meaningful for individuals navigating the pressures of social conformity, encouraging reflection on what constitutes genuine happiness and emotional well-being. Moreover, DiCaprio's life philosophy underscores the importance of intentional choice and self-awareness. At 50, he demonstrates that meaningful relationships are defined not by ceremonies or legal contracts but by mutual respect, emotional depth, and compatibility with personal values. This principle transcends celebrity culture, offering a universally relevant lesson. The pursuit of authentic living requires conscious decision-making, reflection, and alignment between actions and core values. His example validates the choices of those who seek alternative paths, demonstrating that a life guided by authenticity can coexist with professional excellence and public influence. The media's role in amplifying DiCaprio's message also contributes to its lasting cultural impact. By framing his choice thoughtfully, reputable outlets highlight philosophical reasoning, self-determination, and reflective decision-making rather than sensationalizing his dating history. This careful coverage reinforces a narrative that celebrates intentional living, offering audiences a constructive framework to think critically about societal expectations, relational norms, and personal priorities. DiCaprio's ability to maintain privacy while guiding public conversation exemplifies a model of responsible celebrity influence in the digital age. Finally, the broader human lesson embedded in DiCaprio's choice is the universality of autonomy and intentionality. His refusal to marry encourages both public figures and ordinary individuals to evaluate their own life priorities, consider diverse models of relationships, and embrace personal freedom without fear of societal judgment. By living according to his values and pursuing meaningful connections, DiCaprio illustrates that the essence of fulfillment lies in authenticity, deliberate action, and reflective engagement with life. In conclusion, Leonardo DiCaprio's decision not to marry at 50 serves as a lasting testament to personal integrity, autonomy, and value-driven living. It challenges conventional assumptions, encourages critical reflection on societal norms, and provides a globally relevant example of how thoughtful, intentional choices can define a meaningful life. Beyond celebrity intrigue, his stance is a profound cultural and human lesson. True fulfillment is achieved not through adherence to prescribed milestones but through deliberate, authentic engagement with one's values, relationships, and aspirations. His philosophy will continue to resonate, influencing cultural discourse and inspiring audiences to prioritize authenticity, intentionality, and emotional depth in both personal and professional spheres.